Hey guys, welcome to the 2 a.m. pipe on the patio. Today, smoking my Svendborg. Love this pipe. I don't smoke this one enough, that is for darn sure. And I don't remember the model number of this one. And I can't read it out here, it's just too dark out here. I just can't read that in the light out here. Looks a lot brighter out here in the video than it really is out here, but and in it I am smoking dark Flake scented. I believe that is Gawith and Hogarth. Maybe Samuel Gawith, but I believe it's Gawith and Hogarth. Just a killer blend. So my wife and I went out and we were looking at houses and stuff today, just looking around. Found a beautiful house that we love, and were we ready to buy, this would be the house that we would buy. Absolutely, this was the absolutely perfect house for us. But we're not ready to buy right now, so but this house was perfect. I mean, everything about it was perfect. But the timing isn't right now, so man, it was great. But timing's got to be right, man. So after we drove around, we were looking at different houses and stuff, just looking around, and we decided to go get something to eat. And the thing I miss most about where we used to live is the Mexican food. I just miss the Mexican food in San Diego. Something fierce. I mean, there's nothing here even comes close to the real Mexican food back home. And so my wife says, let's go get some Mexican food. And I'm like, okay. There's nothing here that so she pulls up Mexican food and in our area, and it's a bunch of Taco Bells, and there's a couple non-Taco Bells, and so she pulls up this one and she says, how about this one? And I said, well, what's it, what is the rating on it? And it's a 3.5 or something like that. And I said, well, what are the Taco Bell's ratings? And she pulls up a couple and they're 2.5s, and I said, okay, well, that one's rated better than a Taco Bell, so what's that other one there rated? And she pulls that one up and it's a 5. I said, okay, well, let's try that one that's rated 5, because I'll trust that one a lot more than a 3.5 or a 2.5. So we go to this taco shop. It's out in Vinton. Little hole in the wall place. in the same building is a gas station. So it's a little sketchy. But I'm hungry. I figure, what the heck. So we walk in the door, and the sign on the wall says, from San Diego to Vinton, Virginia. And it's got a picture of California there. And so we both stop and we look at that and we're like, wait a minute. And we asked the lady behind the counter, are you from San Diego? And she said, yeah, originally we're from San Diego. And we said, where in San Diego are you from? And she said, Chula Vista, which is where we used to live in Chula Vista. And we're like, no way. She goes, yeah, we lived in. And I said, where in Chula Vista did you live? And she says, off of 8th Street, right by the mall. And I said, I used to work right off of 3rd and J. And so we're like, this is old home week for us. And they had pictures on the wall of the Coronado Bridge, which is where my dad worked. And he was the electrician on the Coronado Bridge. And that's the reason we moved to San Diego, was because he was the electrician on the Coronado Bridge. And he opened the Coronado Bridge when it opened in 1969. And so he had worked on the Vincent Thomas Bridge in San Pedro and Long Beach Harbor there in San Pedro. And he'd worked on these San Francisco Oakland Bay Bridge up in San Francisco and Oakland Bay, and then moved down to the Vincent Thomas Bridge in 1964. And then in 1969, when they opened the San Diego Coronado Bridge, we moved down there. So they had pictures of the Coronado Bridge all over the walls in this place, and that's the bridge my dad opened when we moved to San Diego. And so I was like, holy cow, what are the chances of this? And it was real Mexican food in there. I mean, it was the Mexican food I'd been craving since I moved here. So we found us a taco shop, a real taco shop here. I was thrilled. My wife was thrilled. We brought home carne asada tacos for my daughters, and Sadie likes the Mexican rice, so we brought her home rice. Well, McKinley bit into the carne asada tacos, and she was just like, oh. All of us were just in heaven today from getting real Mexican food. And I texted my nephew in St. Louis and I said, James, we found a real taco shop. The people here are from Chula Vista. He's like, no way. He said it took him 5 years to find an authentic Mexican place in St. Louis where he could find a real carne asada burrito after he moved out there. So he knew the pain. Well, my dad and my brother both worked on the Coronado Bridge. And to come here to Virginia and see pictures of the Coronado Bridge on the wall of a taco shop was just kind of confirmation for me that we're where we need to be. And it was, my dad worked there from 1969 to 1986 till when he passed away. And my brother worked there from the 70s to I think probably the 90s. Yeah, he worked there well into the 90s because he was working there after I got married. he retired from there, so he was there 20 some years probably. My dad worked for the state for 30 some years. Worked all the bridges in the state of California. Man, it was just so cool to walk in there and see from San Diego to Vinton, Virginia, and then see the pictures of the bridge that my dad and my brother worked on, hanging on the walls. Just so cool, very cool. So today was kind of a cool day, but to be, on the other side of the country and seeing the bridge that, I used to go with my dad, and he'd get called out in the middle of the night, and he'd come wake me up and goes, "Hey, I got called in. You want to go out with me on the bridge?" And I'd go, "Heck yeah!" And so he'd drive me out in his truck, and his state truck. We'd get on the bridge, and he'd turn the lights on, and and everything. And I was just a 9-year-old kid or whatever, and I'd get to go out in there in the middle of the night during the summer. He'd take me out and introduce me to all the sergeants and the captains and everything on the bridge. We'd go down into the computer room, and they just had walls and walls and walls of computers in there. And they were huge back then, these massive giant computers back in the 60s and 70s. And keeping track of all the tolls being paid. And we'd go in there and have to reset something, and it would take them 10-15 minutes to do a reset on it or something, and I'd just hang out at the desk there, and he'd flip some switches. And on the way home, we'd stop and get a donut and hot chocolate or something. Or, it was just fun. It was just fun. Those were some good times with my dad. And a lot of good memories today came back, flying back at me when I saw those pictures. Good day. Good day today. Didn't bring my drink out. I tell you, this Svendborg is something else. I put a bid in today on another Svendborg on eBay. Little Svendborg Rhodesian, and I won it. Got it at a great price, $33. Super cheap for a Svendborg. I put in an offer on it. It had a make a bid or make an offer, so I put in an offer, and they came back with a counter, and I accepted that offer because it was a great deal. Needs some buffing on the stem, and that's that's about it. And buffing up the. It looked in good shape, so. This is the only Svendborg I own. I want to get one like Bearded Welshman has, one of those. He's got some great looking Svendborgs. I can't remember the number of the one he has, but I think it's a bark. I think he has a bark. But I forget the number of it. It's a sweet looking pipe. I don't see those anymore, and that one's kind of an expensive one. But I haven't ever seen one like this Rhodesian that I saw. And this one's a pretty stout pipe. This Rhodesian I think is a little bit smaller, so. I'll tell you, the birds are back. The tree across the street is just budding and blooming, and it is going to be beautiful when it's just budding up something beautiful. And spring is here, and I'm getting excited to see what it's going to look like here when spring comes in. The birds are back. Robins were, when I first started here, there were a bunch of robins on the grass. There were a bunch of cardinals around today. I only saw one, but I could hear a bunch of them. But I'm sure you can hear the birds all around right now. They're just all in the trees out here. And I am going to love having all the birds back. It does my heart good hearing the birds. When we do get our own place, we'll be putting out bird feeders, that's for sure. I'm sure we'll be drawing squirrels with them too, but that'll be fun to watch as well. But I want as many birds as I can get around my house. I hear some doves. Got a little robin right there on the ground. I'll miss my doves on the patio that I used to have in California. Would come and nest. I'll have to put up some dove boxes and see if I can get some doves nesting. Got a robin on the fence right now. Yeah. I just love nature. I love nature all around me like this. Wow, this is a long one, so I'm going to end it here, but I will catch you guys later. Hope you all have a good day. God bless you.